Fate, it seems, is not without a sense of irony. This is something Morpheus said in The Matrix, and it's something that has recently restruck my mind with the events of not just Chrischan, but with the objective situation as a whole. Now, for those of you who are unaware, there is an individual by the name of Kristen Weston Chandler. This person is, for all intents and purposes, extremely mentally ill, to the point of where they are a danger to the public. And this has been a long time coming. Now, there's a very long history of him having all of this flare-ups, outbursts, general lack of self-awareness, kind of thing that's been going on for years. This is what a lot of people refer to as a lol cow, someone that is to be ridiculed, made fun of, who has utterly bizarre behavior because they feed into it. They feed into the online community that's attacking them. And that doesn't excuse the online community for attacking them, but there's culpability on both sides here. And Chrischan has gone completely over the top and has now been found admitting that he raped his 80-year-old dementia patient mother. And in the text messages that revealed it, showed that he knew what he was doing was wrong. He knew that she did not want it to be done to her. So any kind of attempt to plead criminally not responsible, like not knowing that your actions were wrong, have gone out the window, because one of the text messages, which I will spare you the graphic details of it, he explained how he knew that what he was doing was unwelcome and she didn't want him to do it. And this has exploded. There's probably about 100 million tweets about it on Twitter right now, to the point where quote-unquote normies, or regular people who are not a part of internet subculture, are now aware of what happened. Now, this video isn't about the details of what Chrischan did, but about what that represents. Somebody online said Chrischan is the canary in the cage of the mine that is the real world. And that if we ignore this warning, that canary dying in the cage, we're in for some really bad times. That was to paraphrase the individual. And I think that's correct. I think this should serve as a warning that all the previous incidents did not click for some reason. Previous arrests, previous assaults, this has all been building up. It has been known that Chrischan was a problem. And Chrischan is a symbol for society as large. Something that is completely, has no self-awareness, is unable to think rationally, and frankly has lost its goddamn mind. This is a symbol for that. And of all the warnings that came before it, none of it mattered. Because in the end, the great final crime that it was going to commit is there. It's a true testament to Chrischan how something as utterly bizarre and outrageous as raping your own mother was something that was instantly believable about him. And the pathology that he had been carrying out for a long time, with a lot of people enabling it. People could have demanded that he receive mental health services, that he even be locked up for his own good. But people were too busy cheering him on, deliberately poking and prodding him, trying to get him to act in a more outrageous way for their own entertainment. And I think that that's a fair reflection of the reality we live in today. When you have the irrational, not even unscientific, anti-scientific nonsense that exists today. People denying COVID vaccines, vaccine conspiracy, and people creating vaccine conspiracy theories, anti-global warming, anti-medical science, and general people ignoring something as simple as universal healthcare has been proven to be a superior mode of getting healthcare to people, regardless of whether a country is socialist or capitalist. You don't even actually need to be social democratic to do it. Every country that has ever implemented a universal healthcare system, a Medicare for all, whatever it is that you want to call it, has always led to better health for everyone and a lower healthcare cost. The goal of economics is the allocation of, or the management of, finite resources in a finite world. And universal healthcare has proven to be the superior form of healthcare again and again and again in every country where it has ever been implemented. Yet to this day, we see a complete and utter denial of this fact, along with the denial of many others. Most frightening being global warming. There's enough evidence to show that there was concern about global warming in 1905. Then later, hard science came out in the 1970s, 1980s by the Soviets, which was all dismissed because the Soviets said it. Therefore, not real. And the very essence of everything that ignores global warming is the profit motive. We literally would not be having this problem if we did not have the profit motive. Because that's what fuels the irrationality, the anti-scientific thinking, the outright psychotic behavior. QAnon is the natural result of that. To deny science, to deny material reality on everything, that is the ultimate result. That's what it does. Western civilization has gone through profound changes in the last 100 years. Changes unprecedented by human history for obvious reasons. And it's fair to remind people that evolution is not a straight path. And evolution also being something that is utterly denied by these individuals as well. And the depth of identity politics that has come out, where anything is whatever you think it is. The postmodernist nonsense that says there is no grand narrative, there is no objective reality, there is only what you think. Anything can be the cause of anything so long as you think it. I need not look any further than phrases like rich shaming or I identify as a lower class individual aside from the fact that I have millions of dollars kind of nonsense. That's just one of the most striking. There are many other manifestations where somebody thinks something doesn't make it material reality. And society has lost its collective mind. The way Chrischan has. The only difference is that this is a collection of the sum of the consciousnesses of all of society together, as opposed to it being the consciousness of one individual, that being Chrischan. And we are looking at things getting worse. We are now looking at everybody cheering on the Democratic Party because a trans person is in charge of the CIA and the bombing of third world people now. How historic and progressive that is. While ignoring the material reality of the third world being slaughtered. Shysters of all type, whether they be the Young Turks, Bosch, or even a lot of white supremacists, with their demented view of reality, that being it's whatever they want it to forward their own interests. There is no objective reality. There is no grand narrative. There is no material reality. It's whatever they think, whatever they want, and whatever it is that they feel it should be. And that's where we are. The canary in the cage just died. And rather than acknowledging that the canary is dead and that we had better run, we had better do something, we're pathologizing it. We're laughing at it. We're mocking it. We're treating it like a spectacle to be witnessed. Are you not entertained? The destruction of this person's life and the woman who was raped, which seems to be forgotten about in this case. The woman who was victimized. Is that not entertaining you? Is that not making you feel happy? Is that filling the void in your life that was left by capitalist alienation? If we don't listen to this, if we don't recognize how bad things are and how dangerous they are, we're going to take this whole, not Western civilization, all of humanity in general, and drive it right off a cliff. I, as a lone individual, cannot stop that. It is only everyone together who can stop that. Now, I spoke to a friend once, and the idea popped up in my head. Is it possible that there is a threshold on alienation? Is it possible that alienation can get so bad there is no coming back from it? And that made me think. Is it possible that we can, at least in the American experience, end up suffering an alienation so bad to hate each other so much? And there is, God bless them, something wrong with the Americans, because as an outsider looking in, you guys hate each other. You hate everything with a passion. You don't shoot up your own country the way you do unless you hate them. You're angry at something. You don't so psychotically dedicate yourself to making sure other people can't get health care unless there's something wrong with you. And that's something that's always been a hallmark of the United States and its individualism. The very thing that America is, the very thing that America was founded on. Sooner or later, the American people are going to have to realize that they are, to use a colloquialism, fucked in the head. And finally do something about it. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, it's not working. First world people in general, not just Americans, can play with these silly idealist, postmodernist garbage, because they're not the ones starving to death in the third world. They're not the ones being bombed to death in the third world. I hate to break it to you, but you know, the people being bombed by the US really don't care whether the person dropping the bomb on them is a man or a woman or what they identify as. They just want the bombs to stop and food to eat. Yes, I'm well aware that there is poverty in America. I would never deny that. But there's absolutely no comparison between the two. Anybody who could say that the poverty in America is somewhat akin or even anything like poverty in the third world is delusional and a part of that narcissistic American charm of having a victim complex despite being a beneficiary of the worst global order we've ever seen. Everything that every communist party in the first world is doing right now isn't working. It has never worked. It will never work. You must do something new. This isn't like the end of the Soviet Union, where we have to organize and lick our wounds and come back. Find a new way to organize or agitate. We're at the point where it is literally socialism or extinction. And it seems people just don't want to accept that. They still think we have unlimited time. They're still acting as though we're still in the early 90s, where we're just trying to find a new way to organize, a new way to agitate. Things are not better or worse than they've ever been. There is no renewed interest in socialism. They are looking at Bernie Sanders, the Squad, the fraud, AOC, thinking that's socialism. Americans consider it a victory for socialism that a tiny percentage of the population just got its head out of its ass. Not even become socialist. That would be a huge step to actually support real socialism. But it's just taking sock-dem Democrat nonsense. And then to watch all these parties run around saying how, oh, socialism is more popular than ever. No, it isn't. It's not even a step in the right direction. A step in the right direction would be to go towards socialism, not towards liberalism, which is also right-wing. Distracting you from the goal is not the same as stepping forward towards the goal, and that is something people don't want to hear. They don't want to hear about how bad it is. This eternal, delusional optimism by Americans in general is typified in that. The clock is running down to where I'm sure there's a lot of people who think we don't even have time left to do a revolution. Some people would say that. I'm not wholly convinced of that, but some people would say that. And still they bicker over the same worthless nonsense. Live in the same delusional state. Believe the same old postmodernist garbage. Because themselves as the center of the universe is more important than the universe itself. And that's another aspect of first worldism. So to close this video, the canary is dead. Start paying attention. And frankly, I don't think people will. I think people are alienated to a point where they're incapable of caring. They're incapable of making the rational connection to what's happening right now, to the warning sign that we've been given. I don't know what to do. There's nothing that I, as a single person, can do. It's about, I don't know. If there's nothing I can do as an individual and people aren't going to wake up, then what is there? All I can do is call attention to it. All I can do is point you to it. What you do with that information is entirely up to you and the kind of person that you are. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.